Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being present here for this reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in matchless gifts again because the gifts here are matchless. We're actually reading a book at the present moment, right? Called Krishna Consciousness, the Matchless Gift. She's looking at me like, are we?
I thought the book was called Matchless Gift.
If you look at the book next time, it's called
I ain't got
Krishna
the book.
Consciousness.
I got no books here, isn't it?
We got it right here. We'll
No,
just
but-
have a look, because, you know, it don't matter what I say, this woman's got to start something. Krishna Consciousness, the Matchless Gift.
Oh, the Krishna Consciousness bit is in like font 4 size.
The book is called Krishna Consciousness, Matchless Gift, and we're reading it, and we're here, the Matchless Gift, but we just read, or I just read this morning, the section where Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna Consciousness is the matchless gift. It is the most fortunate, magnanimous gift that could be given, and it is the duty of all living entities to give this gift to others and help them. So like that. Confirmed.
All right, Canto 4, Chapter 21, Text 37.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 37. The Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are personally glorified by their characteristic powers of tolerance, penance, knowledge, and education. By dint of all these spiritual assets, Vaishnavas are more powerful than royalty. It is therefore advised that the princely order not exhibit its material prowess before these two communities and should avoid offending them. Purport. Prithu Maharaj has explained in the previous verse the importance of devotional service for both the rulers and the citizens of the state. Now he explains how one can be steadily fixed in devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while instructing Srila Rupa Goswami, has compared the devotional service of the Lord with a creeper. A creeper has a feeble stem and requires the support of a tree to grow, and while growing it requires sufficient protection so that it may not be lost. While describing the system of protection for the creeper of devotional service, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has especially stressed protection from offences unto the lotus feet of Vaishnavas. Such offences are called Vaishnav Aparad. Aparad means offence. If one commits Vaishnav Aparad, all of his progress in devotional service will be checked. Even though one is very much advanced in devotional service, if he commits offences at the feet of a Vaishnav, his advancement is all spoiled. In the Sastras, it is found that a very great yogi, Durvas Muni, committed a Vaishnav Aparad, and thus for 1 full year had to travel all over the universe, even to Vaikuntha Loka, to defend himself from the offence. At last, even when he approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha, he was refused protection. Cheapers. Therefore, one should be very careful about committing offences at the feet of a Vaishnava. The most grievous type of Vaishnava Aparad is called Guru Aparad, which refers to offences at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Is that supposed to be Guru Aparad because there's a V?
Well, that might be the way that it's written in that context, Guru Aparad.
In the chanting of the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this Guru Aparad is considered the most grievous offence. Guru avagna shruti sastra nindanam. That's from Padma Purana. Among the 10 offences committed against the chanting of the holy name, the first offences are disobedience of the spiritual master and blasphemy of the Vedic literature. Interesting. But going back, which is interesting because I didn't think it would go this way because of the verse. The verse I thought was very nice. I'm not saying the purport isn't, but the verse was very nice because it's pointing out that characteristics such as tolerance, penance, knowledge, and education, these are like the real wealth. And in the verse, Prithu Maharaj is explaining that these make Vaishnavas more powerful than royalty. And I guess the example in those days, maybe not now with Prince Charles and whatnot, but in those days, royalty meant...
King Charles.
Oh yeah, King Charles, forgive me. But it meant something. And they had wealth, and they had beauty, and they had power, and they were strong and chivalrous, and it carried a lot of
influence.
Weight. I don't know why I'm finishing my sentence. But anyway.
I'll help you out.
So, but we can see, and the thing is today, and I like it, like Krishna always joins these things up, because this happens quite a few times when we're reading, just because we come here after the morning program. So the class today was talking about the senses and the fact that we have, regardless of what's going on around us and situations and what we're experiencing, we're supposed to be in control of the mind and senses. Sometimes we not some, all of it. That's the first things that just go crazy, but actually a lot of things we would able to tolerate and get through and just be peaceful if we just didn't let go of those wild horses, actually. And I was just thinking, so it's such a strength of someone who is dearer. And when you're amongst people, devotees or otherwise, and they are peaceful and calm because they've got those horses under control, they stand out. There's a different type of vibe or aura to them. So this, for me, this stood out in the verse, that even royalty, what to speak of royalty, but someone, and it says here specifically Vaishnavas, who are able to have this power, and it's considered a power, like a superpower of tolerance, penance, knowledge and education, and how to use that knowledge and education, whatnot. That's actually far more superior, which is true. I'm going to finish on this point because I don't want to talk too much. But it is true that these qualities tend to be devoid of a princely or other royal order or otherwise, and that's why they have all the crazy lust, anger, greed issues. Isn't it interesting? It's like you've got your wealth, you've got your lineage, you've got your, you come from this royal family, you've got your land that you own and the castles, but you don't have these things, these qualities, and the senses and the mind are not under control. And therefore, if you read about the history of royal families, even if you read the Bhagavatam, let's be honest, it's pretty wild, and otherwise onwards, Bhagavatam onwards, it's because when these things are not present, and then someone needs a slap by Krishna or Lord Brahma or whoever's been empowered to do the slap on behalf of Krishna to just and then they're like, oh my God, I was meditating and I saw 2 fish and I got carried away. Oh no, I did this and I went and did that and I disrespected this one and did that one. But then they say, come to my senses, and they're like, oh sorry Krishna, I won't do it again, oh my Lord.
Well, in that sense, that like you mentioned, Subari Muni, who's the one who saw the fish, he wasn't a king, he was a Muni.
Now I know.
But
now I know that. I said even the Bhagavatam is full of people devoid of these qualities, and so we have, I guess that's what keeps it entertaining.
I guess I was understanding what you were saying was that the princely order, the Kshatriya order, are often riddled with a lack of, they have so much opulence, but they lack tolerance, penance, knowledge, and education. And therefore we could see in the histories of kings and
I started on that point, but then I followed it through to everyone else.
Well, thank you for listening. Make sure reflecting back. So, no problem. We got you. Everyone out there got it. If you got it, give her a good thumbs up. Perfect. And in the purport, of course, which we're not finished reading, but the first paragraph is just all about aparad, and Prabhupada is stressing on this point of aparad. In the verse, it's interesting that Shukadeva Goswami says, and Prabhupada translates, that actually it's advised that the princely order not exhibit material prowess before these two communities, so the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas. The Kshatriyas are actually meant to worship them, offer them respect, seat them on their throne, and be humbled before these personalities. Whereas we see that would be very difficult because, the princely order would want to control everything and everyone. So it would be very difficult, but that's what keeps them in check. So that's powerful. But this whole principle of aparad, and I was going to say, you mentioned, it's that guru aparad because it's spelled with a V. It's GURV hyphen aparad, but that's because you can't run two vowels into each other, so you'd have to put a consonant there. So I think with that conjecture, you'd have to put, like here you have guru or avagya instead of just guru or guru. You have to put a consonant so it can roll together. But anyway, so we'll carry on reading. It's just one more paragraph. The simple definition of Vaishnava is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A person who immediately reminds one of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is a Vaishnava. Wow, one who immediately reminds you of Krishna is a Vaishnava. In this verse, both Vaishnavas and Brahmanas are mentioned. A Vaishnava is a learned Brahmana and therefore designated as Brahmana Vaishnava. Brahmana Pandit, or as a Vaishnava and Brahmana. In other words, a Vaishnava is supposed to be a Brahmana already, but a Brahmana may not be a pure Vaishnava. When a person understands his pure identity, Brahmajanati, he immediately becomes a Brahmana. In the Brahmana stage, one's understanding of the absolute truth is mainly based on the impersonal view. When a Brahmana, however, rises to the platform of personal understanding of the Supreme Godhead, he becomes a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is transcendental even to a Brahmana. In the material conception, the position of a Brahmana is the highest in human society, but a Vaishnava is transcendental even to a Brahmana. Both a Brahmana and Vaishnava are spiritually advanced. A Brahmana's qualifications are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as truthfulness, mental equanimity, control of the senses, power of tolerance, simplicity, knowledge of the absolute truth, firm faith in the scriptures, and practical application of the Brahminical qualities in life. In addition to all these qualifications, when one fully engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he becomes a Vaishnava. Prithu Maharaj warns his citizens who are actually engaged in the devotional service of the Lord to take care against offenses to the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. Offenses at their lotus feet are so destructive that even the descendants of Yadu, who were born in the family of Lord Krishna, were destroyed due to offenses at their feet. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot tolerate any offense at the lotus feet of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Sometimes, due to their powerful positions, princes or government servants neglect the position of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, not knowing that because of their offense, they will be ruined. I mean, Prabhupada says so many times that basically your spiritual life will be ruined. Going back to the class this morning, there was an example given about controlling the senses and comparing the controlled senses in the body to a bucket that's full with water and energy. Whereas when the senses are uncontrolled and it's like holes in the bucket that just the energy just flows out and doesn't stay contained, compacted, focused. But instead it's like, oh, the phone, or the food, or the body, this necessity, that thing, oh, look at that, look at this, and it's like it's not controlled. So there's holes in the bucket. So I was thinking as we were reading this, and I'm glad that it kind of came up again, that Vaishnava aparad isn't like just a hole in the bucket. It's like cutting off the whole bottom of the bucket. And basically everything just falls out that's inside. Because if there's holes, at least theoretically there'll be some water left inside. But this sounds like, everything is ruined. Now, of course, the analogy or story that Srila Prabhupada gave is about Durvasa Muni. And, I often wonder, because Durvasa Muni, he appears in the Mahabharata also. And it's like he's still hanging around. He's still doing service. He's still respected. He's still appreciated. But, Duryodhana knew that Durvasa Muni is known for cursing people. And so when he came to Hastinapur, then he served him personally to make sure that no offense was created. And by doing that, somehow he won the heart of Durvasa Muni. And then Durvasa Muni offered him a benediction. And he said, oh, because I've had the wonderful opportunity to serve you, I wish that my dear cousin brother, Yudhisthira, also got the same opportunity. So please go to the forest where they're staying, without letting him know that you're coming, and surprise him with your, how many, what do you have, like 10,000 disciples or something. But that's also, he's got like 10,000 disciples. So he appears to be, please forgive me, Durvasa Muni, but I'm saying, you appear to be an offender. Oh. Because that's what happens. You offended Ambarish. You appear to just be easily, like you don't necessarily seem to be very tolerant, self-controlled. But I'm just saying this is how it appears and comes across. But so then, of course, he goes into the forest and they come and he said, and make sure you go at a certain time after they've already eaten, so they'll be ready to receive you. And see, because what's it, Akshaya Patra, is that what it's called, the Akshaya Patra? So Draupadi had this pot which would continue to produce as much quantity as needed, because Bhima could eat, all of them could eat, until she ate. And once she ate, then it stopped. So she had already eaten. So anyway, he shows up. You probably know the whole story. But to make it short, that Durvasa Muni is someone who seemed to be like an offender and engaged like that, but still he's still doing so much service. I can sense that some of you want to hear the end of the story, so I'll just tell it and then we'll conclude. You know the end of the story?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell it?
No.
All right. So Durvasa Muni goes and they're like, oh, welcome Durvasa, nice to see you and your 10,000 disciples. Thanks for popping by when we were about to take rest. We just finished dinner and I bet you want something to eat. And he said, yes, I'm famished. Please prepare me. But we're going to go to the river and have bath and then we'll come back. So they were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And Draupadi was like, I already ate and now what are we going to do? And so then Krishna shows up out of nowhere and he says, there must be something left in the pot, some little speck of something. And he said, if you just offer that to me. And so they found something, they gave it to him and he ate it. And then he said, perfect, I'm completely satisfied. And because he became satisfied, then Durvasa Muni and all of the disciples, they were bathing in the river and they came out and they were like, wow, we don't even feel hungry. And they were just like completely full and satisfied and satiated. So they basically said, oh, we're going to have to leave. We can't go back now and embarrass ourselves because we won't be able to eat. And Yudhisthira has probably made this whole big feast for us and we're just going to embarrass ourselves. So let's just leave. So they left and they didn't even go back. So, Hare Krishna. Mahabharata ki jai. Listening to the Mahabharata audiobook. Any of you out there who want to hear Mahabharata, Krishna Dharma Prabhu has an audiobook of the Mahabharata. He's not reading it, someone else is reading it, but it's his Mahabharata, and it's really, really nice, addictive. Okay, so we'll leave that. Remember, don't offend Vaishnavas. Good Lord, your life will be spoiled. No wonder my life is spoiled. I've offended so many devotees. Please forgive me, any devotees out there watching that I've offended. I beg your forgiveness. Hare Krishna, vanchakalpatarubhyascha, kripasindhubhyevacha, patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Please forgive me if I've committed any offenses. Again, please forgive me if we've committed any offense against you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.